countless relationships, some of which were downright embarrassing, and some of which were just, well, pleasant is the nicest thing I can say about them, and some dry spells that would make the Sahara seem like the Fertile Crescent. I had an epiphany about me and romance. I was a wimp. A complete and total wimp who would play doormat at the merest hint of interest from a man. The turning point for me was when I was stood up by this really cute guy. Twice. When I realized that I was not only tolerating being treated badly by men, but was inviting it, I knew I had to change. No more smiling brightly when the male across the table made absurd pronouncements and outrageous remarks. No more tolerating boyish behavior, which was actually boorish behavior. No more sleepless nights wondering what I'd done wrong when all I'd done was assert myself. No more saying yes when I meant no. I was done with all of that. And though it didn't happen right away, it didn't take long before I connected with the total package. I'd known him for years before we became romantically involved. Although I was attracted to him the second I laid eyes on him, when we first met, he was involved with someone else. This was a good thing, because it moved him right off the romantic possibility list. So I was saved from my impulse to indulge in the self-destructive behavior that ruled the day when a man was a romantic possibility. I said what I thought. I was assertive. I laughed out loud. I treated him like the valued friend he became. In short, I acted like myself. So he knew exactly what he was getting himself into when our relationship morphed from friendship to romance, after his previous relationship had been over for a healthy amount of time. As a result, he's not surprised or affronted when I behave in character, because I've been doing that all along. Is it a perfect relationship? Oh, please. I don't believe such a thing exists. But it's a good relationship, and I'm happier and more content than I've ever been. And I know for certain that the inner bitch way to intimacy is the key to its success. Love is a context, not a behavior. Marilyn Ferguson. Chapter 1. The Inner Bitch Way. The inner bitch way to intimacy stands in direct contrast to toxic intimacy. If you're nodding your head right now, then you know exactly what toxic intimacy is. If you're not, take this short quiz. 1. Do you find yourself wondering why your relationships never seem to work out the way you hope they will? 2. Are you befuddled about the way relationships end just at the point when you begin feeling comfortable enough to really be yourself? 3. Have you ever scraped your heart off the floor and nursed it back to health with endless pints of premium ice cream consumed while wrapped in a blanket on the couch, watching insipid sitcoms? Then, honey, let me tell you. You know what toxic intimacy is, even if you never knew before what to call it. Toxic intimacy tells us it's okay to take the passive route, to worry about hurting others even while they're hurting us. Toxic intimacy is the bane of healthy relationships, and unfortunately, it's how most women approach romance. The toxic fault line. Relationships that are built on the shaky foundation of toxic intimacy are doomed from the start. What are the roots of toxic intimacy, you may well ask? Not to point fingers at specific people, but the plain truth is this: our culture. Think about something as seemingly innocuous as pop music. Pop music falls into a couple of very limited categories. There's the hopeless love genre, the fairy tales come true genre, the I hate you and I can't live without you genre, the I'll change for you genre, and the love stinks genre. Then there are movies and television, which for some reason are seen as reflecting and/or examining the way we live. An absurd premise, no matter how you look at it, but such a pervasive one that any real-life experience is going to fall short if for no other reason than the lack of a soundtrack. And the chances are good that if you've ever actually seen someone in soft focus, it's simply because your contact lenses were filthy. Come on. Whose life really measures up to movies and TV shows? No one's. Because you don't have anyone writing scripts for you, and your life doesn't need to be wrapped up in 2 hours or less. The more highbrow forms of culture are no better. Opera is full of dysfunctional romance, as is literature. Even the Bible makes reference to relationships that can only be described as toxic. The issue of whether culture is a reflection of our society or a driving force of our society is certainly open to debate. There are good arguments for both sides. However, as I have said before, those arguments are better left to social scientists who need some project in order to procure grant funds. For our purposes, it's sufficient to say that most of us grew up steeped in our culture. Therefore, our consciousness was formed, to varying degrees, by that culture. You think I'm kidding, don't you? I'm not. Indulge in a marathon screening of your favorite romantic videos, keeping tabs on how many lines you blurt out along with the characters. Or just turn on your radio and pay attention to the lyrics of the pop songs. I bet you already know the words to a lot of these songs by heart. And if you know the words by heart, the chances are good that you've taken them to heart. I certainly did. And I tried to apply the lessons I learned from my favorite music to my love life. I'm not suggesting here that you stop going to the movies or that you turn off the radio. It just helps to begin to notice dysfunctional or overly idealistic cultural influences. Enjoy them. Just don't model your life on them. What was I thinking? There is no avoiding the fact that the popular ideal of romance is practically designed to send you spiraling into toxic niceness. In the first blush of romantic activity, you are overwhelmed with a desire to cast yourself in the most flattering light possible. This is not dishonest, really. It's just human nature to do all you can to attract the object of your desire by accentuating your more attractive qualities. That's why you take care in how you look when there's even a remote chance of seeing said object of desire. And there's certainly nothing wrong with that. In fact, it's kind of fun. The problem is equating being a wimp with being desirable. Let's not deny it. We've all done it. In fact, most of us have done it more than once. If you haven't, let me offer you my personal congratulations right now, and you are excused from listening to the rest of this book. However, if you begin a romance with a man under false pretenses, agreeing with every suggestion he makes and pretending to be someone you are not, it's really hard to ease your way out of that dynamic and into the inner bitch way to intimacy. The transformation will prove shocking to your partner. His befuddlement when you start to assert yourself will be completely understandable. He will actually be justified in asking, "What happened to that nice girl I first knew?" Is that what you want? I don't think so. May I suggest that you try the inner bitch way to intimacy instead? The way of the inner bitch. The basic premise of the inner bitch way to intimacy is fairly simple. You are not a creature. You are a person. So is your partner. Of course, I could be wrong about this, but if neither of you are people, then I have to wonder why and just how you're listening to this book. In the course of becoming a person, you have learned a couple of things. You know what flavor ice cream you like. You have mastered the art of keeping body and soul together. You have some definite ideas about things. Specifically, you have some definite ideas about who you are and what you want from a relationship. If you're in touch with your inner bitch, you are able to articulate those ideas kindly and firmly, which helps in manifesting and maintaining the relationships you want. Equally important, you know what you don't want from a relationship. I'll bet you the price of this audiobook that you don't want another relationship that leaves you feeling anxious and unappreciated. A relationship that seems more like a battle of wills than a safe haven. Romance at the price of your dignity and comfort. How do you stop the madness that leads to these kinds of things? Have I got a handy catchphrase for you? The handy catchphrase. The key to the inner bitch way to intimacy is this simple phrase.
Para seguir escuchando este audiolibro gratuitamente, haz clic en el enlace de la descripción y podrás escucharlo completo sin coste gracias a la prueba de 30 días de Audible.